So this morning for class, I want to take a look at the emergence of the Kapha dosha because it's coming. You can tell because we have rain, some sprinkling rain in Portland. And also, I noticed this morning in my garden that the beginning of the rhubarb is coming. So rhubarb if you don't grow rhubarb in your garden, you may not recognize this, but it's a plant that we want to see come through in the spring because around April or so, we're going to be eating that spring rhubarb so that we can have the good cleansing. Like when bears eat skunk cabbage after their hibernation, there are certain foods that we also want to be eating after hibernation. The spicy greens that come out of the ground in March and April, like dandelion, yes, and also arugula, mustard greens. If you don't have those growing yet, you can plant them. Mustard is pretty quick growing, so you could get that to come as a start into the ground and then have it for your spring meal. But also rhubarb is one of the foods that we're going to be eating. And to give it a sense that it's about your cleansing, what you don't want to see happen is you go from Vata season where you've been kind of hibernating into Kapha season. And that hibernation feeling is still kind of, you're holding stuff in because that's what bears are doing. They eat, they hibernate, they're preserving, retaining, and then they want to let that go. We also need to have that healthy lymph and digestive letting go process when we get to spring. So I want to take a look at the beginning poses we would do here in the tail of Vata and the emergence of Kapha season for this morning's practice. So please take a comfortable seat and you can rest your hands in your lap, rest your kittens to the side, insofar as you have any leadership over that at all. And you're welcome to close your eyes. And whatever you're arriving with in your body, your mind, or your heart for class, allow yourself to arrive in that which is deeper than any of the stuff that's coming and going. And drop your breath down into the pelvic basin and take your mind down with it. When you find yourself arriving, your body and your breath, now slowly deepen the inhale graphically, not in terms of the quantity of the breath, but the actual depth of the breath geographically. And when you feel that your breath has arrived like that, then begin a very subtle form of ujjayi breathing. And this really subtle form is a way of focusing your attention, like when you narrow the aperture of a camera on something minute, you're going to focus your attention so that the rest of daily life is, for now, set to the side. Now, this very subtle ujjayi is going to have a sensation at the back of the throat. It should feel silky and smooth. When you're aware of the breath moving in the back of the throat, you may notice both the sensation of the breath, and during the pause in the breath, you'll notice the absence of the sensation of the breath. We want to place our full attention on the inhale sensation, the absence of sensation in the pause, the exhale sensation, and the absence of sensation in the pause. It may be difficult to approach this without preference, But see if you can enjoy each part of the breath, not anticipating what's to come, nor preferring one part of the cycle nor another. And then see if you might, if your inhale is 4, the exhale is 4. If your inhale is 10 or 12, then the exhale is also 10 or 12. Do not strain for the breath to be a certain length. Let it be at the pace you can do with equanimity. And then at the end of the next exhale, please raise your hands to your heart and come into Anjali Mudra. We'll chant Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Savidyam Karava Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavahi. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karava Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavahi. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karava Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavahi. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands when you're ready to, and please open your eyes. I'm going to try to keep her from pressing on the microphone where she presses the mute button. So I may seem temporarily or momentarily distracted. I'm trying to prevent this getting muted. Okay, so to get started, let's take a seat in Sukhasana to get started with the physical practice. Cross your right ankle on the outside of your left ankle. And in this Sukhasana position, the knees are going to be closer than in Siddhasana. You might use blocks to support your knees if you're someone who benefits from that. And then root down through the tops of your thighs. So it should feel like you're sitting up high enough that the femurs are actually depressing right here between the thigh bone and the groin. So the knees might be a tiny bit higher than your hips, but maybe level with your hip bones right here. Cross your left hand over your right knee and cross over as far as you're able to and comfortably, firmly hold. Then twist to your right. And as you're twisting, I'm going to ask you to press your right knee into your left hand. It's going to be in the inner belly, the rib cage. the thoracic spine and your heart. Yeah, go ahead and look over your right shoulder. Keep the right knee and the left hand firmly fixed, so your pelvis is also firmly positioned. As you inhale, gaze to your right. Keep your twist, and as you exhale, gaze to your left. And then again, inhale, gaze right. And with the exhale, rotate your head to your left. Let's do that 3 times more. So you're just adding like a little vagal tone support into this, a little bit of support for the thyroid gland also. And as you synchronize the movement of your head with your breath, it also helps the mind to stay more focused. And then exhale and bring your torso around to face forward as well. And notice the asymmetrical echo in your body. And then cross your left ankle in front and right ankle behind. Again, you want the knees to be just a tiny bit higher than the crease of the groin. So there is a depression right here. Cross your right hand over your left knee. Press the left knee down against your hands. You're going to pull up against that. This is kind of taut. And this juncture right here is going to help the pelvis to be firm. And then twist to your left. Look over your left shoulder. So if the pelvis is firm and stable during the twist, I want you to picture that inside the pelvis, the organs, and inside the abdomen, the organs are able to kind of rotate around the spine. Now, of course, they're not going that far, but think of it like you're just getting a little squeeze to the organs on the exhale. On the inhale, the diaphragm's coming down and massaging those organs as well. So you've got this massage with the breath and the massage of the twist. When you exhale, rotate your head to your right. As you inhale, turn to your left. We'll do this about 5 times. Again, giving some nourishment to the vagus nerve, vagal tone. And also to the thyroid. And then synchronizing brings your mind and your body together. The breath is kind of like the mediator for that synchronizing. And with your next exhale, rotate around to face forward. Rest your hands over your knees. Okay, and then come to table pose, please. You want to go out because you're kind of a little bit restless? Yeah? You're looking at the door? You can't reach the doorknob? You get to decide. You'll decide for yourself, honey. You can stay or you can go. It's like a talking head song. Okay? So come to table pose, and I'd like you to have the space to your left or your right to pick up one or the other arm at a time. So place yourself on all fours. Now let's make the pelvis stable. So press into both shins and both knees and press firmly into your left hand. As you inhale, twist and open to your right without moving the pelvis about. So it's really, you're asking for this to come from the lower belly, mid belly, chest, and heart. And then exhale and come down and reach your right arm under with the left arm straight. And then inhale to open. And exhale, keep the left arm strong and just reach under your left arm. And then inhale, open again to your right. And exhale, reach under. Left arm is still straight and strong. And then last time, inhale, open to your right. And exhale, return your right hand to the floor. Now make the right arm firm and both knees and both shins are firm. Inhale, open to your left. And exhale, simply reach the left arm under. And inhale, twist open again. We'll do it about 4 times. And follow your breath pace. Look for strength from both legs and your right arm. And that will help you to have some sense of strength and tone across the abdomen. The pose is not willy-nilly. We're relying on the stability to help cultivate the internal cleansing process. And then come to table pose again. Drop your hips back to your heels in child's pose. Walk your hands actively forward and elongate your spine. Okay, inhale, roll forward to cat pose. Exhale to cow pose. Inhale to cat pose. Exhale, child's pose. Bring your cat pose spine with you. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cow. Inhale, cat. And exhale, child's pose, excuse me. Now we're going to add something to this. So inhale, roll forward to cat pose. Exhale, come through to cow pose. Inhale to cat pose. And exhale, bring your right knee up to your nose. And then inhale to cow pose. And exhale back to child's pose. Inhale, roll your spine into cat. Exhale, cow pose, move smoothly through the spine. Inhale to cat pose, press firmly into both arms and your right knee. Exhale your left knee up to your nose. And inhale to cow pose. Exhale, reach back to child's pose. So we're going to keep encouraging the undulation of the spine. Now we're going to deepen that twist we did from table pose. We're going to change directions a little bit. When we go under in this table pose, you're going to be able to put your shoulder, insofar as it goes, onto the floor. And then you're going to put one hand on top of the other to make that firm. So the twist is going to be stabilized by a couple points and then mobilize the twist in the inner body. Let me show you what that looks like where you can see if I go to this side first. So when you come down from your twist, you're going to place your right hand on your left and make that a firm action so that you also can firm up both knees. And then the twist is going to be in the inner belly. And this particular firmness is important for giving focus, the stability on the outer body, and then the mobility on the inner body. Okay, so let's come to table. And we'll inhale, twist up to the right first. And then exhale and come under with your right arm. Lay the right shoulder on the floor or raise the floor with a blanket if you need to. Place your left hand on your right hand. Press down on your right hand with your left. And encourage the twist of the upper back to be broad and breathable. Press firmly into both knees. It's going to feel like your left knee wants to lighten up on the floor. So press that knee firmly down. And exhale completely so you can sense the massage of the inner body. And then place your left hand in a support position. And inhale, raise back up to your twist to your right. And then exhale, come down to table pose. Let's do the other side. So inhale, twist open to your left. And exhale, come under. Place the back of your hand, the back of your elbow, the back of your shoulder. Take the right hand onto your left. and press firmly into your left hand. Let the upper back feel sort of broad and breathable in the twist. Now it's going to feel like the right knee wants to be lighter than your left knee, but do your best to press down into your right knee. Place your right hand where it can be a support to you. Inhale, open your twist to your left. And exhale to table pose. Okay, inhale to cat. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale, undulate forward to cat. Exhale, cow pose. Inhale to cat pose. Make both hands and your left knee stable. Exhale the right knee up to your nose. Inhale to bird dog pose. Reach your right leg back and your left arm forward. And then exhale to table pose. Okay, inhale to cat. Exhale, child's pose. Squeeze the lower belly like squeezing a sponge. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cow pose. Inhale to cat pose. Make both hands and your right knee firm. And exhale, squeeze your left knee up to your nose. Inhale, bird dog pose. This is a stable pose. It's a balanced pose. Exhale to table. And then inhale to cat. And reach back to child's pose. Okay, walk your hands back towards your knees, please. And rise up to Vajrasana. And rest your hands in your lap. Rest your mind in the present moment and just notice what's happening in your circulation, the vibration of energy in your body. And also observe the pace of your breath. And observing it all without a strong preference for one thing or another, but kind of equal regard, positive regard. Now we're going to change the position slightly and add to the sequence. So what we're doing is kind of giving a wash to all the organs in the trunk and the torso. We're also affecting the thyroid as we go between flexion and extension of the neck. And the synchronizing that you're doing with your breath and your mind, it's really helpful for the two hemispheres of the brain to feel like you want them to come together. I'm going to ask you to step now your right foot out to the side and come to table pose. So if you'll check when you go down, under, and through, it's going to be a different distance for you to the floor because you'll have a limitation. Your pelvis will be less able to twist to the left with you. And in that case, you may want to put a blanket down on the floor to make the floor higher if you're going to need that. Let's begin with the twist to the right. So inhale, open to your right. That's going to feel a lot more free right now than when we did it in table pose because we've changed this particular relationship. So inhale and open, enjoy the freedom. And then exhale, come under, reach with your right hand as far as it comfortably goes. And then inhale, sweep open to the right. And exhale, come down and under. Inhale, sweep open to your right. And exhale, down, under, and through. This time we'll stay a little bit. So let's put the back of the hand, the back of the wrist, the back of the elbow. And if your right shoulder feels supported enough, you're going to place your left hand on your right hand. And twist your upper back to the left, keeping the twist breathable and broad on the backside. And then place your left hand where it supports you. Inhale, open to your right. And you might notice that that goes quite a bit farther when you're completing the sequence. Exhale, come back to table pose. Let's put the left foot out to the side. And then with your inhalation, please open to your left. And just take notice for yourself of what the openness is, like what if you had a protractor, you're not actually competing, so the protractor is only for curiosity. What is your reach at this moment? And then exhale, come under. Inhale, open to your left. Exhale, come thoughtfully under. So you've got the back of your left hand, wrist to elbow, shoulder. Raise the floor with a blanket if you need that to be there. And exhale, come under. We're going to stay for a few breath cycles. So place the back of your hand, left elbow, left shoulder. And then press your right hand on your left hand. Of course, you might feel your left inner thigh, not just your upper back here. And then place your right hand where it supports you. And inhale, open to your left. And check in with your imaginary protractor. And exhale, come back down to table pose. And back to child pose. Okay, and walk your hands back to your knees. You've been on your hands for a little bit, and I know for some of you that you might have sensitive wrists. So interlace your fingers and make a figure 8 like this. Now you probably took that figure 8 in the direction that it's like easy for you. It's familiar to you. Take it the other way. I hope that brings a smile to your face, that it's a little bit awkward. Okay, we're also going to stretch the wrists like this. So first shake them out. Okay, and then take your right hand forward like this. Turn your palm to face the midline. Turn it to point up. Bend your elbow. Hold the back of your hand. Turn your palm away from you, away from the midline, and then bring it down. You might have been wondering why I was so specific to start that. Let me do it again because some of you got confused. Take the right hand to face the midline. Turn your palm up. Bend your elbow. Hold the back of your hand, including your thumb. Turn your hand away from the midline, the palm, and then bring it down. And that's going to stretch and twist your wrist. So I can recall from many, many in-person yoga classes at the studio that students would get confused about this action. So it doesn't surprise me that there's some confusion. But we want to get the benefit of the experience too. So okay, with an exhale, release that one. Now take your left hand forward. Welcome your kitten into the class. Turn your palm face up. Bend your elbow. Hi, Bindi. Hold the back of your hand. Turn your palm to face away from the midline and then come down. And if you have been working with your hands, it could be computer, it could be crocheting, could be gardening, you may notice the influence of that work on the hands and even in the joints of the hands. We don't want the hibernation season to leave a kind of tamasic residue. So the cleansing of digestion and lymph is also the cleansing that we need for the joint. So there's not all these deposits in the body everywhere that are causing a drag on the system, we could say. Where are you going? That's my water, not yours. No. Okay, and then release this one. Now take both arms forward like you're sleepwalking. Turn both hands away from the midline. Bring your right hand over your left and clasp your hands. You've interlaced the fingers, bring them down, bend your elbows, and then bring your knuckles up and through. And if you're able to, we move the arms towards a kind of straight position. I cannot straighten my elbows here. My wrists are too strong. We could say inflexible, but we could also say strong. We're doing this because I want to give you one more sequence on your hands in that quadruped position, and I don't want your wrists to be irritated with me. Take this forward. Now, unlace the fingers and circle the right hand around and interlace with the left from underneath. So your left hand is on top now. Come down, under, and through. There's a lot of sensation. I'm taking lessons on the harmonium. That's one of the things my hands are doing. A lot of pumping with my left hand, and that's where I feel the most sensations right now. I've never had harmonium lessons. All the years that you guys have known me and I've played the harmonium for you, it's only this little self-taught thing. So I'm really having a lot of fun with my harmonium teacher. He's in Chennai. I'm here in Portland, so it's online, just to let you know. Okay, come down and through. Now we'll shake the hands one more time. Okay, so the next sequence is let's do it, and let's also visit it again from time to time and see if we're going to regain some strength as we go from winter, which tends to be a little bit more sedentary. We're going to go into spring where people kind of want to burst out into their favorite activities, and sometimes we do too much too soon. So come over to table pose, and then step your right foot back to plank pose. Step the left foot back to plank pose. And inhale, reach high into downward facing dog pose. And what we're going to do here is we're going to inhale forward to plank, and we're going to exhale and hug the right knee up to the right elbow. And then we'll inhale back to plank. So inhale forward, plank pose. Exhale, squeeze your right knee to your elbow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Inhale forward to plank. Keep it smooth. Exhale, left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale to plank. Take a break whenever you need to, of course. Exhale, right knee up. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, left knee. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog. Twice more. Got to flow at the pace of your breath cycle, so your body, breath, and mind are all smooth together. And now walk your hands and feet towards each other and come into Uttanasana. We'll transition to standing. Please raise your hands to your hips and rise up to standing and come to mountain pose. So that sequence with plank should generate a little bit of heat, and it's appropriate to have heat in your practice this time of year, just like it's appropriate to have ginger tea right now and to warm yourself from the inside. So now we want to use that kind of heat concept to help move the sludge. I'm saying that with affection, the word sludge. We want to help move the sludge from the body. So turn to the top of your mat with 2 blocks, please. Bring your hands to your heart. And with the Ujjayi breath, like a subtle form of the Ujjayi breath, inhale your hands down, wide, reach up like the element of spring. Exhale, bend your knees and sit down into chair pose. In breath in chair pose, broaden the back of your body. Exhale, come down to Uttanasana, chest to thighs, and let's keep them touching even as you come into Uttanasana. It's not necessary to straighten your legs completely. Then inhale, raise back up to chair pose. Exhale, sit a little deeper into the back of your pelvis. Inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. Exhale, sweep your arms wide and return your hands to your heart. Inhale, upward hands pose. Exhale, chair pose, sit down. Inhale, broaden the back of your waist. Exhale, chest and thighs touching. You can move towards Uttanasana. Inhale, return to chair pose. Exhale, sit a little deeper into the back of your pelvis. Inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. And exhale, sweep your arms wide. Return to your heart. Notice the heat you're generating from within the body. I'm going to take that now to surya namaskar. So inhale, raise up. Exhale, chair pose. And again, try to come into the sequence now and the breath without preference for one place or another in the sequence. Exhale, chest to thighs, moving towards Uttanasana. And then this time, inhale, come up to Ardha Uttanasana with your fingertips on your blocks. Exhale, step your left toe straight back. Inhale, rise into your crescent. And then exhale, come to airplane pose. You can massage the torso on the thigh. Not everyone's going to touch that low. Inhale, raise back up. So really important that you keep the legs very stable. Your thighs, shins, and feet are stable. And it's the pelvis rotating you forward and your pelvis bringing you back up. It's not the lower back. So when you exhale and the torso comes over your right thigh, you're giving a massage. You're kind of snugging into that. When you inhale to raise up, the tailbone's going down. The pelvis is making a circle action to bring you back up. This time, let's come down and we'll touch the 2 blocks. And then inhale to plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, rise up to your crescent. And exhale to bow forward. You're going to do that massage of the torso towards your thigh. If it can't touch, it's okay. It might progress in the weeks to come. Keep the legs very stable. So stable here means not sinking or rising while the torso is moving, but also not vacillating to the side, not wavering left and right. Press firmly into your left heel. So you're using your heel, your hamstrings, your glutes, not just your toes and your quadriceps. And then exhale and come down and place your hands on the two blocks. Let's inhale to plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog pose. And then inhale, right foot forward, left foot forward, and exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, big circle of the arms. Return your hands to your heart. Other side, inhale. Okay, exhale down to chair pose. Stay through for the inhale, broaden the back of your waist. And then exhale, lower your torso to your thighs and come towards your Uttanasana, whatever your hamstrings allow for. And inhale forward to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, take your right toes back. Inhale, press into your left heel so you rise up with the strength of the whole foot and your whole left hip. And then exhale, bow over the left thigh. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, keep the back leg strong, front heel strong, the back of the left hip toned. And let's exhale to come down. Place your hands on the two blocks and inhale to plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now exhale, bring your right foot forward. Inhale, raise up at your pace and your capacity. Exhale. Little squeeze of the abdomen. Inhale, raise up. No particular strain in your body, just an effort for strengthening and cleansing. Do this one more time. So squeeze on the exhale, rise on the inhale. And then exhale, wide, forward and down. And inhale to plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now inhale, left foot forward, right foot forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. And inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. And then come to mountain pose. Let the arms dangle. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself for a moment as a mountain, watching the winter become the spring. And the mountain itself would not have preferences for one season over another. I sometimes talk about it as awakening is the mountaintop of freedom, or equanimity as that mountaintop of freedom or acceptance. Okay, so the twisting poses that we were doing earlier on the floor, I used a particular approach, and I said a few things with specific language. We want the outer body to be stable and the inner body to be getting the effect of the twist. Of course, the spine is also twisting, particularly in the thoracic spine. Less twisting capacity is there in the lumbar spine. So we're going to practice now how to stabilize the foundation of the legs for one of my favorite twists. May not be yours. It's called parvrrta trikonasana. So how do you cultivate stability in the legs and then approach this pose, which requires some hamstring flexibility, outer hip flexibility, leg strength, inner mobility here, and thoracic flexibility. And it brings all that together too. So let's put the right foot at the top of the mat, please. Step your left foot back. So in this stance, you want your feet to be hip width apart, left to right, or a little bit wider. You can go a little wider if you need more stability. We want the back foot to be on an angle where it's helping your hips to shine forward. The length of the stride is not as long as your lunge pose, but it's not super short either. So let's see if you place your fingertips on your hip bones, can they both kind of shine forward towards the front of your mat pretty equally? And are they level right to left and up and down? And then keeping both legs strong, so tone your muscles and use your pelvis to rotate forward. As you're coming down, you can place the blocks on the tall setting if you need to, which just means that you're respecting your body, and you might be longer limbed with shorter hamstrings. Doesn't mean that somebody else is better at yoga if they touch the floor. For those who'd like, you could put the blocks on the medium setting, but check that your pelvis is still rotating, right? So it's not that you bring the hands down lower because your arms are like orangutans or because you've rounded your back like an armadillo. It's that your pelvis has made this rotation while you keep the leg muscles strong. And some of you may check if you would like to come down to the flat setting on the blocks. It's not required and doesn't make you a better person. And there will be some people who will come down to the floor. We have to acknowledge that some of this is genetic capacity, not just your not like body length of the bones and the muscles. There's a genetic component in all of that. And so acknowledging if your pelvis continued to rotate and you're comfortable here, then you can stay at this level. If you were to back up and check and see what happens with a little bit of support under your hands, is it more breathable? Does it feel more like yoga? And once you choose the place where you're going to be, of course, you've got all those stretches in your calves, hamstrings, and hips. Let's take about 3 more breath cycles and identify where your particular threshold is for this morning. It's really helpful if the spine can be pretty straight and long, including how you organize the placement of your head. And then press into your right heel, walk your hands up to your hips and rise up to standing. And step your back foot forward and your front foot backwards. Now, it doesn't mean that your blocks are going to be the same on the next side. You might actually need to start with the tall again. So this is research and warming up. So place your feet either hip distance or a little bit wider. I personally choose wider, partly because I've had those hip replacements that you guys know about, and also because wider feels like a more stable base. And with a concussion, one of my symptoms has been vertigo. So I'm choosing a wider stance left to right. You can do the same. Place your hands on your hips and come around the check. And then begin the process of coming forward. Strengthen your leg muscles. So your pelvis is rotating over very strong leg muscles. We could say toned leg muscles, but not tight leg muscles. And let's put the blocks on the tall setting to start. And you can check if you place the blocks on the medium setting, does your pelvis still rotate over? You can also check the flat setting or the floor. And again, there's no awards given if you get to the floor. There's not a ribbon waiting for you there. Let's make the spine level. So this may be a pose for you where you're actually sort of strengthening the small muscles of alignment rather than stretching your large muscles, hamstrings, glutes. You may feel those stretches. You may also be doing both of those things. Now press into your left heel and ask yourself if the left outer hip or hamstring is actually turned on, or if you're just mostly stretching it but not really toning those muscles. And then press into your left outer hip and heel and rise back up to standing. And step your right foot forward and come to mountain pose. So if you have a little bit of instability coming up from being down there, as I do with my left leg is my more recent of the two hips. It's my more recent hip replacement. But if you have a little instability with that, it would indicate that when we go down, we may be using the muscle strength to go down. And then there's a kind of laxity that can happen. We might not have full control over the joints, because when the leg is straight, having a communication with your hip, knee, and ankle is harder. When it's bent, you can communicate with all three more artfully. So when we're down, we want to use the strength to come back up, not momentum, and not like a swan dive backwards to get back up. Let's put the right foot forward, left foot back. Now this is for revolved triangle pose. And what you're going to find out is that there's another dynamic that gets added. So place your hands on your hips. Angle your hips forward. Come into your Ujjayi breath. And then tone the muscles of both hips. So even though you're going to bow forward, tone the left hip too. And as you're coming forward, keep a little micro bend in your right knee so it's not hyperextended. And place the blocks on the tall setting. And then press into your left fingertips, and let's just pick up the right arm out to the side like we did for table pose earlier. Can you maintain the Ujjayi breath in a smooth and yogic way? You press into both feet and your left hand firmly. That's going to initiate the twist. So the twist is not initiated from your right hand, nor from your right shoulder. Press into both feet. So the right foot is also rooting down, left foot. Press into your left hand to give strength to your twist. Think of the right arm as the effect of, or the expression of, what the left arm, left shoulder, and thoracic spine can do. And don't grasp with your right arm. We're going to exhale, return. Now check that you've got strength in your ankle, your knee, and your pelvis to come up. And then step your left foot forward and your right foot back. We'll bring the hips around. Come into your Ujjayi breath. Tone the muscles of both hips, so that's going to include your right butt, left hip, left hamstrings too. As you come down, keep a little micro bend in the left knee, so you're required to make this communication from your hip all the way to your foot. Hyperextending your knee generally drops the communication. Okay, so press into both feet and your right hand. Float the left arm out to the side. And as you breathe, start exploring your twists from the strength of your right arm, pressing down. You can either look down towards the floor, towards your right hand, or you can look in the direction that this heart is going, the direction of your sternum. But all the while, notice if you've got full contact and communication with each foot and each leg, the strength of your right arm. And then unwind your twist, communicate from your left hip to your left knee to your left foot. Roll the torso back up with your pelvis and step your right foot forward. Come again to mountain pose. So for those of you who might be accustomed to going all the way down and opening into the twist, you may feel like I'm holding you back. I am in a way holding you back. I'm asking for this stability and mental focus to go towards this pose so we can understand now if the outer body is stable, can we have the inner body explore the twist? So it's not like, how far can I go? And just like you're in a musical or something, but can you go inside for the twist? Let's do it one more time this morning. Step your right foot forward, left foot back. I will give you an additional little dynamic to do, and you can explore it and see which option is better for you. And bring the hips around. Root down through the tailbone. Energize your outer hips, hamstrings, your quads, but don't hyperextend the knees. So keep a little tiny bend in the knees as needed. And then rotate with your pelvis to come over your thighs. And let's touch the blocks again. Okay, so the change of dynamic on this one is let's keep the legs as they are, stable. We'll keep the blocks as they are and put the left hand across onto this block. And that will not feel as stable right now because your arm's going to be on an angle. Place your right hand on your sacrum. It's a place for decorating. And then press into your left arm. And notice when you do that, that you want the sacrum to remain stable. So if you press down through your left arm, you're not turning your hip bones, but the inner body can rotate, and then your thoracic spine rotates. Check in with the belly. Is it able to rotate here? Including the inner belly. And then raise your right arm if you would like to. And with an exhale, bring your right hand down to where your left hand is. Walk the left hand over to its block. Communicate from your right hip to your right knee to your right foot to bring yourself up. And let's put the left foot forward and the right foot back. I hope you're generating some heat. I hope you're feeling a little bit warm. Okay, again, my feet are wider left to right. You might do the same. Bring the hips around. Root into your heels. Come into your sovereign Ujjayi breath. And then rotate the pelvis over your thighs. Keep a little micro bend in each leg as needed. And now the option here is to place your right fingers on your left block. It will not be as stable. You're going to have to make that stability from your strength. Place the left hand on your sacrum. Check that it's going to stay pretty level. And as you press into your right fingertips, see if you can motivate the twist from your inner body. Respect all of the wobbles and bobbles. I have some too. It's really cool to work in this way because you realize where there's some little deficits that can be explored. You may raise your left arm if you like. And then you'll bring your left hand down where the right hand has been. And the right hand goes to its block. Communicate from your left hip to your left knee to your left foot and roll yourself up. And then step your right foot forward. And again, come to mountain pose. I hope you have a little bit of heat. And that heat, I hope, is coming from the inner body, right? That you can feel that this internal region was involved in the twist. Okay, now let's take our 2 blocks and please get 2 blankets. Okay, so we'll take now spring, Kappa dosha is coming. So we're going to take this little journey into a yoga pose that I'm going to recommend. If you, upon coming into Kappa season, you find that you're struggling with congestion, if you get a head cold, if you get sinus congestion, if your lungs feel congested, if you get that seasonal cold, by the way, what that means is that in some way, how you were living your Vata season wasn't particularly ideal. And so then you get this, shall we say, seasonal transition or dosha transition symptomology. So we're going to do something for you right now. This is going to go on the medium setting. This goes on the flat setting. Take one of your blankets and fold it in half like this. Like this is my storage fold, like that. And place it on both of these blankets. But this is for your upper back. This is for your head. Let's check first that that's comfortable. So when you place the upper back and the head, it should feel like you're going to have a little back bend. And the block under your upper back goes at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Please check that. The block is under your shoulder blades. So if you see where my hand is right here, my left hand, that's where my block ends. Right? The blanket is only there to pad the blocks and make them a little bit higher, but the block ends there. It's not down here. So there's no tension in the lower back in this case. And once you know that you've got your position there, then roll up to sit, take this blanket, unfold it once, and roll it. Hi, Bindi. Hi, Panda. You're going to hide? Panda's hiding behind the furniture. Okay, and then put that roll under your knees and come down into this sort of kappa moving pose. So it means that if there's chest congestion, sinus congestion, we're asking that to move out. A little bit of a back bend. Turn your palms face up. Please close your eyes. Now allow your body to settle in. There's going to be a pranayama practice coming up here shortly, but really allow yourself to settle into this shape. See if you can get to know the shapes and their sort of personalities, because the pose we were doing, parvrrta trikonasana, is definitely stronger, requires a different focus, has very different dynamics. So what do you notice about this shape in your body? What are the dynamics happening here? So we moved energy, we generated heat, we gave some soaking and squeezing to the inner organs. Now we have this opportunity, kind of like basking in the echo of those efforts. And our opportunity here is going to be to explore the breath. And this is one of my favorite things to explore. Particularly, it's going to inform us, just like those poses gave us some information. Do we have some learning curves or some deficits, places where we might have backslid from our previous capacity? So we're going to practice 3-part breathing. So it's first third in the low belly, kind of think of it below the navel and at the pubic bone. Middle third is navel, side ribs, and kidneys. Upper third is the chest and the heart and the collarbones. So first, I'll just ask you to get familiar with those 3 regions. And then notice if your breath, a smooth inhale, is capable of touching each region of the torso. And not only on the front, but also into the back body and the side body. And the inhale goes from the first third, middle third, upper third, and we want the exhale to begin at the base, the pelvic floor. And allow it to be like a massage, a gentle, loving message from the inside with the inhale. And with the exhale, a quality of surrender or peace, an inner sense of equanimity. For Viloma pranayama, which is a formal way of doing this 3-part breath, we're going to inhale to the count of 3 in the low pelvis. We'll then pause for 3. We'll inhale to the mid-torso for 3, and we'll pause for 3. And we'll inhale to the upper chest and heart for 3, and then we'll pause for 3. And the exhale will start at the base of the spine and be about 9 counts, for example. Now, the pace that you're counting is going to be your own. I'm only suggesting the number 3 because it's easy to work with. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 9. Right? As you progress in the practice, you may be able to exhale for 9 or 12, 15 or 18. So count, don't rush, no competition, no pressure, and see if you can inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause 3 times. 3 portions of the breath. With each pause after the inhale, you'll have a little tone in the body. Those are your bandhas. And so you're pausing, letting your body acclimate to the first third of the breath. And it acclimates to having the second third of the breath. And then we lift the upper third of the breath into the upper chest. We pause again before exhaling. Please do that for 2 more rounds with Viloma pranayama. Don't pressure the end of the exhale. It'll put you into a sympathetic alert in the nervous system. It'll make the next breath cycle more difficult to do gracefully. At the end of those remaining 2 cycles, allow your body to deeply relax. And just notice the interior, the echo inside. You've created a shift of state by doing this pranayama. So let's just take the arms, forearms together and reach them overhead for a moment. Hopefully they don't fall back farther than you're comfortable with. And do one more Viloma pranayama. See what's possible when the arms are overhead. And then release your arms. You can either roll to the side from this position, or sometimes it's actually less awkward to sit up, lift your head, roll up. Let's keep the blanket for the knees. Take the other blanket for the legs. Put aside your blocks. Lie down. Yes, it's time for Shavasana and then meditation. So take the palms face up. Adjust for any lumpy clothing that you might have had, which is what I just did. And close your eyes. So Viloma pranayama can be energizing. It can lift energy in the body from the base upwards. It can also be calming to the mind because of the breath pattern, particularly as your exhale gets easier to do continuously and smoothly. So now it's a really important time to gift yourself with a deep internal relaxation. So don't practice any breathing. Release muscle effort from the practice also. And soften right between your eyebrows. Allow the eyes to be heavy in their sockets and turned inward. Soften the corners of your eyes and the bridge of your nose. Invite your cheeks to relax over the bones of your face. Consider relaxing your upper lip and the hinge of your jaw. And welcome your tongue to get heavy at the bottom of your mouth. And encourage your throat inside and out, the throat, the neck, to relax, whatever degree they're able to. Welcome your shoulders to get heavier against the ground. And for your arms to become limp with relaxation. Imagine both hands getting warmer and all 8 fingers and both thumbs getting warmer and more limp. Relax the trunk of your body. Encourage all the organs inside to be renewed. Release where you're able to the weight of your pelvis, and allow both legs to get heavy and relaxed against the floor. Encourage your mind to be deeply relaxed. The whole of the body entirely at ease. Again, you can welcome a deep quality of stillness and ease. Allow that to permeate the entirety of your body, to include your mind and your heart. And respecting the place that you drop into when you're resting like this, wiggle your fingers and toes just enough to awaken the transition to your meditation seat. But don't overly agitate yourself. Come up to take a seat. when you find your seat, you also find your inner mountaintop of freedom, as they call it. If you can gaze upon the whole of the body in your inner life with a quality of evenness, not strong preference for one thing or another. And stay present to the possibility of inner quiet and an evenness of attitude. It's called upeksha, upekshanam. Like the quality of a mountain with a strong base and a vista, a perspective over a larger landscape from the top. The mountain accepts the coming and going of the seasons. It also accepts all the different travelers, many species, including humans. Please raise your hands to your heart. And considering the well-being that we are able to cultivate in a yoga practice, and that it doesn't seem readily accessible to all people, we're going to offer this chant, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May our practice and the merits of our practice also benefit others. And may everyone everywhere be able to have some ease from suffering or pain and to experience joy and harmony. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your time and your practice this morning. And as such, also your vitality and your energy and your transformation. Thank you. Now, if these practices are helpful to you, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click like for the videos that help you, so I'll get that feedback, and leave comments or questions down below as well. Thank you once again.